with us right now, we've got Adam Nessim. And Adam, you are the founder and CEO of the PreMed Consultants. And kind of the headline here, and I think a lot of business owners are going to be really interested, is I'm on your TikTok profile. You've got over 100,000 followers as of when we're recording this. And get this, over 1 million likes. So Adam, first off, thank you so much for joining us.
Hey, Josh. Great. Thanks to be here.
Yep. All right. So first off, I guess kind of give us the story of where the PreMed Consultants came from. And by the way, the website is PreMedConsultants.com.
Yeah, it's a great question. So I just finished my third year of medical school, actually. And before that, I was doing a lot of tutoring for the MCAT exam, which is the test that you have to take to get into medical school. And I saw that a lot of pre-meds struggled in this area, but also throughout the entire process, because it's a long and hard process to become a doctor, get into medical school. It's about 60% of students that apply every year don't get accepted. So more than half of the students applying are actually not getting in. And so I saw that the industry was very fragmented in regards to the services that are provided to pre-med students, whether that's, some services you'll just get an MCAT course, but then there's also additional services where you have to pay for it to get help with the applications. And there's also not a lot of help for students that are just starting out. Especially at the time when I started the PreMed Consultants, I didn't really see anything in the market that helps younger students, freshmen and sophomore, get on the right path. So one of the big issues that I saw is when students came to me 3 years later to prepare for this big exam, they really didn't have the right habits and study strategies in place then. That made it a lot more difficult to really help them do what I would think would have been their best on the test. We had them improve their score a lot, and the program I worked for, the company I worked for at the time, was a good company, but I just felt like there was a need in this market that I wanted to fulfill myself, and I was getting very much into entrepreneurship. And also, once I started medical school, being an employee, like working part-time and then also studying for class, it just financially didn't seem to make sense for me. So I kind of took the risk, I'm gonna try and solve this issue. And so I quit, started building up a brand. You kind of alluded to that a little bit with the TikTok and Instagram. And then really made a program where the goal is to be an all-inclusive advising program to help students throughout the entire process. So that's our unique take on it. Basically, you can be a freshman just starting out and you're getting help from then until 4 to 5 years later when you get into medical school.
So in the early days, how were you attracting students that you could help, or prospective students that you could help?
Sure, yeah. So when I left the company that I used to work for, I was like, well, now I have to figure out how to get my name out there. And at the time, the biggest thing was getting on Instagram. I don't even think TikTok was a thing yet. It might have still been called Musical.ly. And that was a little, the age demo of that was probably too young for me at the time. So I really started building a brand on Instagram. I learned how to make a website. So I made the website, and I started really just hustling in terms of word of mouth, reaching out to people that I knew from my connections in the space, considering I was already a medical student. But I actually would say, I think the first 2 to 3 clients I got was from just putting out a lot of quality content on Instagram and free advice, and then eventually students asking for more in-depth services. And so that's where I initially started. And then since then, it's kind of snowballed into lots of different avenues of how we get leads, and we have a much more systematized sales process at this point.
So when someone goes to the PreMedConsultants.com, what are the programs? What is your typical model or your funnel look like?
Yeah, so we really only sell one, I guess you would call it a high ticket program, that is to help you throughout the entire process. So you're gonna get, when you join, help throughout all your classes, the MCAT exam, and a lot of companies will just sell like an MCAT program. It's like an 8-week, pre-recorded course, or maybe a live online one. where, you know, they're funneling students in and out and then they never see the students again.
Yeah.
That's not what I wanted from our company. And I really liked the long-term relationships that I was able to have with students when I was mentoring them. And that's why I made it so that we're with you the entire way. So that's pretty much, if you go through like our funnel, you would call it, the only service you can really get into is that program that helps you throughout the entire process. I've dabbled a little bit with like offering the a la carte stuff where it's like, oh, I just want help with interviews, or oh, I just want the MCAT part. But the problem that I saw is like, that's like me putting on a Band-Aid on something that needs a full solution. I don't also want like the student to be like, oh, well, I paid him for editing my essay, but then I didn't get in. What happened? Like, there's so much that goes into this that I didn't feel comfortable only providing small like services rather than being able to fully mentor and help students throughout the whole process. So that's why we actually only offer that one product. And it kind of makes the sales process easier because everything is streamlined to sell that one high ticket product.
Yeah. So are you in medical school? So you were in medical school, or you are in medical school?
So
what's your relationship with medicine today?
Yes. So I built the whole thing while in medical school. So if you want to make an excuse that you can't build a side business when you're a 9 to 5, I think I counter that argument. But yeah, so I just finished my third year of medical school, so I have one more year left, but I'm in a gap year now. So I'm going to be taking some time off. I'm going to be doing research. And to be honest, it also was nice because now I have a little bit of extra time to work on the company and really put the systems in place. We're building a team right now. And so this year has been really helpful for that. The goal was also to travel this year, but that kind of took a turn with everything going on. Yeah,
for sure. So, you know, again, with your business success, I wonder, obviously, I mean, you're so close, you know, go ahead and get your MD, but what do you imagine you're going to be doing?
Yeah, that's a good question. I get that one a lot. So right now the plan is still I'm definitely getting the MD. Even the last year, there's not that many requirements. So fourth year of medical school is actually a lot easier than the first three. For the most part. So I only have 2 to 3 more months of like technical requirements. So I'm going to finish the MD. The goal is to still do residency and work on the business and grow the business at the same time. I'm going to have to figure out exactly how to do that. And I'm not saying that things can't take a turn, but right now that is still the goal. I'd like to be able to like practice clinically, but we'll see what happens.
Wow. Okay. So at some point, TikTok comes on the scene. And what was your first memory of discovering TikTok?
All right. So I'll have to shout out Gary Vee for this one. But I got on, I know he was like talking about it like loudly for a while. For those who follow Gary Vee, he was, I feel like, an early adopter of recommending the platform. But I was on it like maybe the first or second time he ever even mentioned it. Like I really was still on it early. At the time, like none of my peers were on it. No one really knew about it. I was just like putting out some content. I really think the people that were on it at that time were only the people that were on Musical.ly before it was bought out. And so I was reaching out to people like, how do you even like use this thing? I started putting out different types of content. And then I remember that I posted a video of me doing like stitches on like a practice. There's these like pads that you could do practice stitching on.
Yeah.
And like, it wasn't even like a good quality video. I was just like practicing tying like surgical knots. And for whatever reason, this thing just took off. Like I didn't even know there were 7 million people on the platform yet, and it got 7 million views. So that was that was the first like viral moment of my life, actually, I'd say. And I went from, I guess, like 4,000 followers to like 40 very fast. But it was still not mainstream. So at that point, I wasn't really using it to sell. I don't think my like target audience was there yet, but I was building up this like following that I think then I had a lot of credibility when people started moving over to the app, that I was able to like keep the ball rolling.
Okay, so I need to give some perspective here. Correct me if I'm wrong, but your very first TikTok, I think, was July 27th of last year. So it's just over a year on TikTok, and you got 1 million likes.
Yep, that's correct. Actually, it's so funny. I was just doing a live yesterday, and one of the first ever like TikTok influencers, I guess you could say, was on that live, and she was responding to me saying it was exactly a year ago when you reached out to me asking how to grow on TikTok.
Oh,
I was like, oh wow.
Gosh.
So yeah,
and it's, you know, it's kind of funny when you find someone who's doing well on a social media platform. You go back to like their original stuff and you see like these, you know, you're just kind of cranking along. You got, you know, a few thousand plays now, but then you have a few of these that which one has the most number of views?
So it's going to be that stitching one that I talked about, which is going to be way back. It's going to be like 7 point something million.
Oh my goodness.
It's way back. But we just had one. What the crazy thing about TikTok is you could chug along putting out content, getting like, you know, 5,000 to 10,000 views. And then just recently, like I did one that got 500,000 views, and that was like a couple. If you look at the one with the notes, I was like commenting. I was actually duetting someone else's video, and it got 500,000 views. And I'm like talking about study strategies and how to take better notes in class, and I was at like 85,000 like last week. So that one video skyrocketed me the extra 15,000 people, and that's also prospective clients that are then going to come in and be able to follow me for, well, we'll see if TikTok goes away, but if it doesn't for a while, we'll see if I can transfer them over to other platforms. And so the organic reach there is pretty impressive, and just the ability to convert. Like even though I had good organic reach, at first I didn't think I'd be able to convert. And now I'm seeing that I'm actually getting sales, like making, I don't know, there was like a month where I think maybe like $30,000 in sales came in from TikTok. And I was like, really?
Wow.
Like, wow.
Yeah. So, well, and that was my question is, you know, any tips that you've learned along the way for getting people from TikTok to say, okay, I'll click into this other world, onto a website or whatever it is. Like, what have you learned, you know, in that process? Because obviously I'm sure you've tried some things like, no, that didn't work.
Yeah. I think that you first need to still build trust with the person. Like they're not going to come I've noticed like people won't come in really and watch one of my videos, follow me, and then be converting on the funnel. It's the ones that have been like, oh, I've been especially, and I'll ask them on the sales calls when I do. Well, I don't really do many of the calls anymore, but when I was doing them, like people, I would say like, where'd you find me? And they're usually reluctantly will admit, if they don't answer at first, I know it's from TikTok, because a lot of times these students that are like 18 to 22 don't want to admit that they found me from TikTok. I think now it's a little bit more mainstream, but and I would ask like, how long have you been following? And they said like, it usually would be a couple weeks, a month. And so I think you have to go in knowing like the conversion might not be right away, but if you continue to put out good content and then get that trust, then every once in a while when you plug whatever you're like, I have a book that's written for pre-med students that I'll plug every once. I don't do it often, but I'll do it. Then that starts the funnel. And so I think once it's people that, sometimes you'll get one that just converts immediately, but I think overall it's going to be continuing to build trust with the audience, be authentic, and then that's how you make the actual conversions from like an app like that.
Yeah. What's the most successful TikTok video that you've done that has led to the most number of conversions? And do you recall like what you said or did?
It's hard to get like tracking on like, because now I'm getting views from so many videos at the same time that because like you'll see like some of the videos like right now don't have that, like on the top of my page don't have that many views, but there's tons of videos that are constantly being shown, which I think might be unique to TikTok. I'm not, I guess YouTube does that too.
Yeah,
But
it
like,
seems like a really different algorithm than say like Facebook or Twitter or any of them really, for that matter. You're only going to see what's been posted in the past 24 hours.
Exactly. Like sometimes I'll get an influx of followers, like 1,000, 2,000, and be like, where is this coming from? None of these videos I posted out recently are doing well. And then I'll like scroll back, I'll see this one video just gain like another 10,000 views. And that's why. So it's hard to always see. I think it's usually the ones that I'll do, I'll talk something that's much more like related to actual pre-med or the target audience, and then I'll plug the book. I'll be like, check out if you feel like you're a struggling student and you want help with this, like I have a free ebook for you. Check it out in the link in my bio.
What do you imagine the rule is between being self-promotional and you got to be entertaining for TikTok? Where do you think that line is?
That's a good question. I think in the beginning, I wouldn't be that self-promotional at all.
Right.
Now, more recently, I just started doing something that I made like a little clip that is going to plug the book at the end of a majority of my TikTok videos. But that way they get, it's not, the video itself is not a promotion. They get the TikTok like entertaining 15 to 20 second clip. And then at the end is the plug. So if, I think that's a little, it's not right in your face. Like there are some videos that the entire video is the promotion, and I think those don't always do as well. I think it's important to slip one of those, like just a shameless plug every once in a while if you feel like you're providing enough value. But I think sometimes I go off of intuition of like, do I feel like I've been providing a lot of value, or do I feel like I've just been plugging myself? And I actually think more often than not, I feel like I'll plug myself, and then I'll be like, and I'll get sales or whatever, and I'll be like, why have I not been doing this more? But then I also try to balance that with, well, maybe the reason it worked so well this one time is because I haven't been doing it so much on the front end.
Yeah. And so, then, having an offer, obviously having a really easy offer for people to say, oh, well, I'll do that. Like, what's the first, and maybe you already mentioned this. So what's kind of that first step? You said you had an ebook. Is that generally what you give away?
Yeah, that's like the lead magnet, you would call it. It's an ebook. It provides a ton of value. It's not like just a fluff book to get their email address. Like it actually provides value. And a lot of times, let's say someone can't use my service, or they can't afford it, or whatever it is, I feel like happy knowing they'll be like, oh, did you check out the ebook? That's still gonna like really help you a lot. So that's the lead mag. And then usually the way it works is if you want to hear like how the funnel goes, is it'll go from that into Facebook Messenger. That's actually where they'll get the book. And then I do a conversation, like a texting conversation basically, or messaging in Facebook Messenger, see like, kind of assess where they are as a prospect, if they actually need help. And then I would go into more details about the program, then go to a strategy call, and then from there to a close.
Right.
So it's pretty streamlined as a process.
Yeah. So where do you go from here then, business-wise?
Like in general, or in terms of the sales?
Yeah. What are your goals? What are the next 12 months hold for you? Hopefully TikTok, as of when we're recording this, there's a lot of like TikToks in the news, about,
we'll see if that gets
down. There's no way.
I don't think it will be.
Say there's no way. Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, I agree. I don't think it will be. I think it'll be bought out but we'll see. If it goes away, like I'll adapt to whatever it is. I've been trying to dabble with Instagram Reels, which just came out, but I don't really like it that much, but hopefully they'll improve upon it. In terms of business goals, I definitely want to continue to expand the program, make sure that it offers everything and anything that a student would ever need. I think we're pretty close to that, but we're still, we run as a startup versus like a lot of these big corporations that have like millions of dollars behind their R&D. I don't have that. So there's a lot of sweat equity that goes into building the products and services, but I am starting to bring on other people and expand on that. So continue growing the team. I think we went from like 2 or 3 to 15 over the last like 4 to 5 months.
Wow. What's everybody doing?
So we have now a sales team where we have 3 or 4 people either helping me with like the chat conversations or sales calls. I'm not really taking that many sales calls myself anymore. Then I have, to make sure every student is getting like the highest quality service, I have now four other coaches that are top medical students. A lot of them are at like Ivy League med schools, or a lot of students are in pre-med are non-traditional, which means they didn't know they always wanted to be a doctor, so they did something else for 4 to 5 years and then made the switch. So we have one coach that did exactly that, so he can really relate with them. So we have like a whole team there, and then we have marketing, and then I have one person on helping me with social media. Eventually I'd like to grow that team so that it's less, I could just make the content, and then I could have a team in post-production.
Yeah. One other question back on TikTok. I forgot to ask this. I saw you had a blue check mark next to your name on TikTok. Does TikTok kind of do verification like Instagram and Twitter and all that?
They do, yeah. So that was the first verification I've gotten. I advocated for myself to get it, actually. So I was clearly getting a decent amount of followers, and TikTok had reached out to me a couple times to be a part of their creative learning fund, which is going to be this, they really want to push educational content. I think coming up, I'm not sure when this would be released, but they're going to have some sort of like feed that's specifically for like learning and education. So they're putting a lot of money behind that. And so I was asked to be a part of that fund, or like whatever it was called. Like it was kind of like a launch where they had all these creators doing lots of educational content. And now they're doing a round 2, and they asked me to be a part of the round 2. And I was like, well, I said that I'd love to do it, but I was like, you reached out to me a couple times for this. Here are also publications I've been in for my company. So I have a couple features in like Yahoo Finance, Forbes, etc. Yeah. I was like, here's the content I've been putting out. I think it would make sense maybe if I got a blue check. And they were like, fill out this form. We'll see. And then honestly, it was pretty fast. Within like 36 hours, I had it. So which was really exciting. Like it's not that big a deal, but it was still exciting to me. Yeah. I don't know if it carries the same weight as it does like on Instagram or maybe Twitter or something like that. But it was cool to see. Like I just kind of took the initiative and I think I had the credentials, but they weren't going to go out and like this person should be verified. So I kind of had to like nudge them a little, but yeah, that's how that happened like a week or 2 ago.
Do you think that aside from just having the blue check, I wonder if that helps you with discovery as well?
I think it does, like when I comment, and also I think when I comment on bigger accounts posts, like different business people or different creators that I'd like to get in touch with, it gives me a lot more credibility with trying to connect with them than just any other person that's commenting.
Yeah, man, I'm not on TikTok as a creator, but so I've had Twitter verified forever. God help me if I could get Facebook and Instagram. As a journalist, I don't know. I think it just used to be easier.
It's 100% harder now, for sure. I'm working on Instagram, but like, it's been tough. I'm hoping that I can do something with Reels, because the Instagram Reels, which is new, so it's like their TikTok competitor. Yeah. I think they're gonna like reward people that are using it, at least in regards to like views and stuff. Like my Instagram organic reach has been pretty poor for a while, and the only time I've seen it go up is recently when I started trying to use Instagram Reels.
Is Reels, and again, I'm showing my ignorance here, which is okay. You don't know if you don't ask. I just get to do so in a public forum in front of thousands of people. What's Reels?
Not a bad place to learn.
Yeah. Right. So Reels, is it a separate app, or do you do that directly through the Instagram app?
It's within the Instagram app. It came out last Wednesday. And it's basically, I don't think the user interface is done so well. And I think that's why you don't even know it exists yet, for example. Yeah. But if you go to your stories, there'll be an extra option now to make a reel, which is essentially making a TikTok. But I think a separate app, like how IGTV has a separate app, might have been a better play for them. I'm interested to see, because the discoverability and people even noticing that it's there is not clearly so good. So we'll see how how that goes. But yeah, if you try to make a story now, instead of a story, you have an option to make a reel. And then there's a whole separate feed where you could actually just watch other people's reels. The thing I'm noticing though is all the reels I'm seeing are from big influencers already, as opposed to on TikTok, you can get a video from some no-name creator, and that gives them the opportunity to then, make a career path for themselves. I'm not seeing if Instagram's going to have that same organic reach, but it'll be interesting to see what happens.
Yeah. All right. Well, I'm going to play around with this. I'm going to see if I can find reels. And I'm like in Instagram, and I still can't. Like,
no, go to your stories. Go to your make a story.
Do you normally? So if I click on your story,
go to your own story.
Yes.
To make one, click add.
Oh, add to your story. I had to press and hold. All the Instagram regulars are like, man, this guy is so incompetent. So and then I click add to your story. Okay, cool. And then it's has a bunch of reels.
At the bottom, it should say. It'll say live.
Oh, it doesn't. See, mine only says live and story.
Oh, either you got to update the Instagram app, or they just haven't rolled it out to your exact device yet, which would be interesting. Or I feel like they always put it out in waves. Yeah.
Okay, cool. Well, thank you for the Instagram tutorial, the Instagram Reels tutorial. I'll have to do some reading up on this. Okay. Well, Adam Nessim, thank you so much for joining us again. The website is PreMed.com, and you can also find Adam on TikTok. Just go see what Adam's done, how he's gotten over 1 million likes. You've heard the whole story. So it's Adam_Nessim, and that's Nessim. Got the little blue check mark there. Click follow here so I can keep up with all your TikTok shenanigans. Adam, thank you so much for joining us.
Thanks so much. And the one thing I'd add, just for anyone who's maybe wants to pursue TikTok and feels like you have to be doing silly dances and whatnot, most of my content is me talking about medical education and studying. So you could talk about whatever you want. There's a lot of people that will probably find it interesting. And so don't be afraid to jump on a new social media app. It might do good things for your business.
Awesome. Thanks, Adam.
Thanks so much.